the main key that I looked at was the key was not focusing on just the product features, creating a compelling narrative that resonates with the target audience that we are looking forward to. We wanted to tell a story that made users feel like they were part of an ongoing journey where at each chapter of this product, they are going to keep on coming back for more, because we are telling them, oh, hey, this is the product that we are rolling out. This is what you should expect in the near future. This is what you should expect later on in the journey.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Scale, a podcast for product marketing managers for building, positioning, and scaling tech products in Africa. I'm your host, Carolyne Mweberi. I'm a senior product marketing manager currently consulting in Nairobi, Kenya. So today, I'm so delighted to be joined by Ian Hutchful. Ian is a seasoned digital product marketing manager with over a decade of expertise in crafting and executing data-driven marketing strategies. He is currently leading content and product marketing efforts at Fido, which is a digital lender operating in Ghana and Uganda. One fun fact about Ian is he loves playing basketball on the weekends and also going to the beach with his dogs. Welcome to the session. Ian, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Caroline. I'm so glad to be on the session. I'm looking forward to all the questions and the wonderful conversation we're going to be having about SEO. Just like you mentioned, I've been into marketing for over a decade now. I'm spanning across SEO, content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing. I generally like to call myself a full stack marketer because I experience across all the various fields. And I'm looking forward to today's conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ian. I'm so excited to have you. I went through your profile and know you've done amazing work supporting different companies. So we'll just start with a very light icebreaker. So you'll tell us, what do you love about Africa?
Yeah, so I really love Africa, generally because I'm someone that really likes the outdoors and wildlife. So finding myself in Africa is just amazing because all the greenery, all the wildlife that we have here. Personally, one of the countries I really love in Africa is Kenya. I mean, because of the wildlife, I really like to visit some certain parts of Kenya someday to witness the migration of the water beast and all of that. In terms of technology, you find that we have quite a number of startups that are really coming up on the rise in Africa. Very, very great startups, tech companies all over the place. And you can see that that is something that it's great for the continent in general. One company that really motivates me is Market Force. I'm looking at how they grew exponentially, the kind of investments they have gotten and all of that. It's just great to watch and see fellow Africans coming up with such amazing products and we're really scaling them on such a large scale. I was also lucky to meet the CEO when he came to Ghana for events, able to hang out with him, go out, have certain conversations, and I should say they have a very, very bright future ahead. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic, Ian. So I'll give a bit of a background in terms of the Scale podcast and why I created this podcast. And that's because you have so many products and amazing engineers and teams that are building solutions. But the gap that exists at the moment is that these solutions are not correctly being positioned into the market. So I was like, let me start this podcast so that I can be able to engage with different product marketers, like people like you who are doing amazing work so that you can discuss in terms of how do we properly position how do you properly position products into the market? I know we have so many new PMMs coming into the practice because it's a very new field here in Africa. So that's why I started the podcast. So the first question we're going to go over is just like, what should product marketers prioritize in their go-to-market planning? And feel free to give us examples.
Okay, that's quite actually a very broad question and quite interesting. So we can talk about customer research, segmentation, competitive analysis, value proposition, etc. But I think we should look at it this way, right? I feel like with product marketers, usually there are three key elements that they should prioritize when they are coming up with a go-to-market strategy, right? I think the most important one is a deep customer understanding. At the end of the day, you really need to understand the customer that you are targeting. So I feel like the first and most critical step is to kind of develop a thorough understanding of your customer, know who they are, what they need, how they interact with your product. That's essentially the foundation of any go-to-market strategy from my perspective. For example, are they satisfied with the product that you already have? Why are they using your products? Why are people churning? Why are people not using your products? If you're able to have such deep customer insights, I believe it helps inform everything from your messaging to prioritizing the features you have or you're going to have during the launch of your product. Then again, you also talk about understanding of your product as well, because as a product marketer, everything you need to know the product even more than the developers, because if you don't really understand how the product works, you'll not be able to communicate it very well to the general public. So as a PM, you are kind of like the liaison between the customer and then the product. So you need to speak intelligently. You need to understand where your product team is going in terms of what is the next step in the product. Because as a product marketer, you don't always need to stay in the now. You also have to think about the future. Where is the product heading to? What's the narrative or what's the story that I'm going to be telling the customers? Some people may argue that product knowledge should come first before customer understanding, but in reality, it kind of works hand in hand with customer insights. So if you have an existing product, you need to know how your customers are going to be using it today. What is the future roadmap that your product team has? Where is the product going? And at the end of the day, you need to clearly understand the product and be able to craft a compelling narrative for the market to also drive uptake of the said product. And lastly, I like to talk about the fact that aligning the future vision. You need to align your go-to-market strategy with the vision of the product. If you know the product team's plan, it's going to help you shape like a narrative on how you highlight the product from today into the future, and kind of like a forward-thinking solution for tomorrow's challenges. This alignment is kind of very critical, which will help current customers and also potential customers. An example is a product I was working on, which was a payroll product, right? When the product was launched, we had quite a number of people using the product. Some people dropped off and some people did not use the product because it didn't have specific features. So what we had to do was had to go back to the product team, talk about the fact that there are certain features that people need on the payroll software and they are moving to other payroll software because we don't provide that service on our platform. So now we have to create a narrative of letting customers know that this is something that's in the pipeline and eventually going to be done in a certain time period. So this was something that the team committed to, and we started communicating with our current customers who were looking to change because they didn't have this feature, making them aware of the fact that this is something coming to the pipeline. Then we made a feature in the app that coming soon with the feature there, which kind of like helped us reduce the percentage of people that were churning, and also started sending out SMS, emails to similar customers who are churned and also customers who had left previously for various reasons. And these are things that as a product marketing manager, you need to have that vision and that understanding in a way that you're able to keep your customers, you're able to grow the user base as well of the product. So I think these three things are very, very important in your go-to-market strategy as a product marketing manager. Yeah.
I love that. I love that, Ian. And so with what you've explained, I think we can discuss more about like if a startup has like limited resources, how can they use digital marketing, which is something you have experience in, to increase customer adoption? Could be an application in the financial services sector, could be healthcare, but how can they leverage digital marketing to increase the number of users they're getting to their product?
Okay. To be honest, this is a bit challenging, especially when we are talking about the fact that, you have limited resources, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, the key to increasing customer adoption lies in effective messaging, position, and understanding like the entire customer journey, right?
Yeah.
So everything depends on how your target audience discovers your product. Customer adoption ultimately comes down to how you position and communicate the value of the product that you're offering to your target audience. So we have seen large companies and startups struggle with things like this, which is essentially the messaging and the communication. It's either they don't position the product clearly or they focus too narrowly on specific features in the product without highlighting the super important stuff like identifying use cases of the product and to increase them, which will essentially help increase the customer adoption rate, right? I think at the end of the day, we need to look at a few parts of the funnel, right? Yeah, looking at top of the funnel awareness, middle of the funnel on the user journey, and then bottom of the funnel where we are talking about retention. So let's just say for the sake of this conversation, let's talk about top of the funnel and then bottom of the funnel, right? So if you're looking to increase customer adoption, especially when you have limited resources in digital marketing, you need to focus on several parts of the funnel when it comes to top of the funnel awareness. At the awareness stage, the main goal is to grab the attention of your potential users by communicating how your product is going to solve a specific problem for them. You need to go deep into segmentation, whether it's by the industry you're in, whether it's by business size or the needs of your customer. Once you're able to do that, you kind of like able to narrow down and tailor your messaging accordingly. You can highlight specific use cases that are going to resonate with your target audience, kind of like demonstrate how your product fits into their workflow or how it solves their problem. Because at the end of the day, nobody kind of like wants you to just always sell, which is something that a lot of people do in their marketing. Sometimes you just need to kind of like position yourself in a way where like you are thinking about the customer and you are making yourself available to solve a specific problem for them. When you approach your marketing that way, you're able to increase your conversions, kind of like tell a story, create a scenario. You find yourself, let's just take Fido for instance, where we give business loans and personal loans.
Yeah.
Sometimes in our messaging, we talk about the fact that, oh, you find yourself in a fix and you need quick financial help. Going to the banks and all of that, it's kind of like a long process and tedious process. You quickly download the Fido app, you complete your KYC, submit certain documents, and voila, just like that, you have some funds paid into your Momo account once you go through the entire process. In that case, you're not just shoving the product down your throat. We are kind of like making ourselves available or speaking to you in a way where we know that, oh, people face certain financial difficulties in certain times in their life or certain periods, and we are available there to help you. So that's how you have to think about the top of the funnel when you're creating awareness. Then we are talking about bottom of the funnel, where you're talking about retention and expansion. Once customer engages your products, it's crucial to make it easy for them to not only stick with your product, but also expand the use of it. Some people just use a product which has various features, but they're using just one feature. You also have to think through how you can market your products in a way where you can expand the use of your product. If we are giving loans on our products, we also allow people to purchase data. We allow them to make payments for their DSTV and stuff like that. Once a user has come into the Fido app and is just using the loans, how do we expand this customer to now use our payment services? How do we get them to start buying data on the app? So these are things that you need to think through, which is essentially going to help you at the bottom of the funnel. We're able to retain customers so that even if they don't need a loan, they are constantly buying data on your platform. They are constantly making payments on your platform. And when you think about all of this, it then comes down to how do you tell the story to the user that will make them feel that specific way to take a specific action. And a big part of this is offering seamless access to customer support, access to resources. And we go back to the fact that product marketing is very important. So these resources, making your app easy to use with various product marketing assets that can be created for the customer to understand how the product works and how they can use it. So customers should be able to find help easily without needing excessive assistance. And this ensures that they kind of like feel confident when they're using your products, and they are more likely to adopt more features in your product and stay long term. And usually customers like this then turn on to become advocates for your product, talking about the fact that, oh, hey, Fido is a great app. They give me loans quickly. I can make payments. I can do all of this on the platform. So in short, I think just focus on digital marketing efforts, on nailing top of the funnel messaging, making your product very user friendly, and be supportive as possible when it comes to bottom of the funnel. This way, you drive awareness and retention even with limited resources, and you don't really have to do much. Yeah, so I think that's.
I love that. I love that, and I love the breakdown you've given us in terms of the funnel and also the key activities PMMs can be able to undertake using digital marketing to increase product usage. I love that. I feel like that's very important. So now we'll move to the bit about us discussing SEO, and you can sort of elaborate that to other PMMs who don't understand. So you can start with the basic, like what is SEO and why is SEO important when we are positioning and scaling tech products, in different markets.
Okay. So essentially, just to break it down to the tiniest bits, SEO is essentially search engine optimization, where you are optimizing your websites with certain target keywords and fixing things like your image alt text, your anchor tags, like various things in your website to essentially rank number one in Google. There are two sides of SEO: on-page SEO and then off-page SEO. Which when I'm answering the question, I'll be talking about both of them. But essentially, the SEO helps you position your websites well online, rank for specific keywords that you're targeting. You know, when people search online for product marketing platforms or product marketing courses, there are a number of links that show up online. And essentially, the people at the top have good SEO for that specific or that target keyword. And that's why they are showing on there. So I think that's just the simple way to explain it. But to answer your question on why SEO is important when we are talking about positioning and scaling tech products in the market, right? You have to look at it like this, right? SEO is kind of like the hedge for ads and paid ads, right? SEO is how you build on a long-term strategy. It's very strategic because you're looking at SEO. It comes down to, once again, messaging and position of the product and how you differentiate yourself within the market. You have different people vying for different keywords, and you're competing with all these people all the time. So how do you differentiate yourself? How do you differentiate your product? And how do you communicate online? When you talk about ads are going to give you quick visibility, but SEO helps you build a substantial online presence, which eventually pays off over time. Now, let me explain why it's kind of like strategic in regarding to messaging, positioning, and scaling of your products. SEO essentially aligns with messaging and positioning. Your SEO efforts are closely tied to how you position your product in the market. It's not just about ranking high in search engine results. It's also about ensuring that your messaging resonates with your target audience. Effectively, SEO means optimizing your content to differentiate your product from your competitors, which makes it very easy for potential customers to understand why your solution is the right fit for them. You need to target specific verticals when it comes to SEO. So if you're looking at a well-executed SEO strategy, it kind of allows you to focus on particular verticals. You look at search products, you look at AI products like Anthropic and Anthropic Cloud or OpenAI, ChatGPT. What we see in that space is some of them might be better optimized for different segments of the market based on their specific strengths and optimizations. In as much as these are all AI tools, Anthropic and Anthropic Cloud or OpenAI, ChatGPT, they all market themselves differently because everybody has their strengths and they market it accordingly to fit a specific target audience, right? So for instance, some AI models might excel in particular industries or particular use cases, like customer service, data analysis, or creative stuff. Others might also be geared more towards large-scale enterprise solutions, so small businesses looking for, simple automations and stuff like that. Essentially, while all of these are powerful AI solutions, they have unique features, unique performance capabilities, and optimizations that make them better suited for different users and different use cases. This allows them to attract a very relevant audience. So in this case, the messaging is going to be different. Their keywords are going to be different. Targeting is going to be different. This applies to our product as well. By owning one particular vertical and optimizing your content for the keyword that fits that specific vertical, the phrases that are going to be used in that vertical when your target audience is searching for you can help position yourself as the leader in that space. So essentially, you're building long-term authority. And once you have a robust SEO, it kind of helps establish a brand as a trusted, authoritative presence in the market. So if you are talking about Fido, and we are talking about SEO, we are talking about targeting keywords that are related to loans, related to financial wellness, related to payment solutions and stuff like that. So our content is essentially going to be aligning with these specific verticals. So if you are going to write content, you are going to write in content based off how you can invest your money, how you can, let's say, consolidate your loans, educate people on things in this specific vertical in which we are targeting. So by doing this, essentially over a period of time, our company is going to become like a go-to resource, and it's also going to help strengthen our market position when it comes to scaling our products. So once people search for a solution, we have content that's available.
Yeah.
For example, we have videos, we have infographics, we have case studies of customers, how they use the Fido products, how it's helped scale their business, how it's helped them, stock up and stuff like that. So when we are talking about scaling your business with SEO, it's very, very important, and it's very, very essential, because at the end of the day, it all ties in with product marketing. You are constantly creating content, you are constantly educating customers with specific keywords that you're also targeting as well. And whilst you are doing this, that's the same way your product is going to be scaling online. Your influence is also going to be improving online, and you kind of become like the go-to platform when it comes to education in the fintech space, or education, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I love that. I love the breakdown you've given. Then even at the moment with the company I'm currently supporting, it's called Color. We have different services we are offering, and at the moment we're really trying to optimize using like different keywords, so that if somebody is searching for AI in Africa, our company is the one that pops up in our content in all the reports we've written. So I love the elaboration you've given, and I've gone through your profile. I've seen you have like different experiences by supporting different companies. So now what I want us to discuss is, what are some of the challenges you've experienced as a PMM, positioning solutions, but also just engaging cross-functionally with different departments. Could be the engineers, could be UX designers. I'm pretty sure you work with a lot of designers in-house, or maybe if you do outsource some of your work to an agency. So what are some of the challenges you face? It could be even research, market research. When you go to the field, what are some of the challenges you're experiencing? So just take us through that.
Okay, that's a bit of a tough one, right? But I'll say essentially promoting tech products already comes with its fair share of challenges, right? One of the most significant issues I've personally encountered is usually identifying the right use case. This can be particularly tricky, especially for startups or companies with limited resources. I've worked for quite a number of startups as well. Sometimes it becomes challenging to gather data, or kind of like analyze trends and understand your user base thoroughly. Without these kind of insights, it's kind of like difficult to position your product effectively. And then this kind of leads us into another space where we're talking about how do you work with your product team and provide enough proactive value to your product team and the product managers, so that they don't just build a product that's positioned for customers, but they essentially build a long-term strategy for what customers want, a product that also meets the current marketing requirements. And it's also about anticipating the future demands and aligning the project with the larger strategic vision. So at the end of the day, as a product marketing manager, it's very essential that you provide all of these insights to your product team, which will help them align their goals, and also sometimes help them with their thought process. We need to be very close to the product team, work with them, interact with them, understand where the product is. Because sometimes if you do not constantly communicate to your product team, and they themselves are not proactively updating you or speaking to you, sometimes you may be coming up with strategies or certain communication that is not in line with what the product team is also working on. So you need to constantly be in communication with your product team, so you are all aligned with the company vision or the product vision. And that essentially requires strong collaboration and communication between the product marketing team and then the product management team. I think another challenge I've also faced for larger organizations, where you kind of like have multiple teams, is essentially keeping everyone on the same page. This can become very difficult sometimes, to be honest. If you are working on a single product, it's essentially that all the teams, that's product marketing, the engineers, the marketers, they are all aligned on the kind of like the product vision and then what the customer needs as well. But when your audience keeps on growing, like your pool keeps on growing, it becomes increasingly hard to kind of like synthesize the communication insights accurately across board. This can kind of like lead to misalignments within the teams, because now you have a customer base that, let's say your initial customer segmentation was targeting young people within the ages of 20 to 35 years old. Now your customer base has increased. You have new features which kind of like fits a different customer segment where you're targeting people within the ages of 40 to 55 years old, right?
Yeah.
Now you have to kind of like have a strategy or communicate in a certain way that aligns with all of these groups or all of these segments that now you now have. So if that is not done well, there's kind of like communication gaps within the teams, and if it's not handled properly, there's going to be a lot of misalignments within the product marketing team and then the product team as well. So I think in summary, the key challenges I face include identifying the right use cases, especially with limited data or resources, which I feel like is a big issue in Africa. It's something that I believe a lot of companies need to like handle independently, where like they come up with various white papers, various researches being done in their specific niche or their particular niche. I think also ensuring that product development is aligned on both the short-term positioning and then also the long-term strategy as well. And then also maintaining clear, proactive communication across to make sure that everyone is working towards one specific product vision. So I think these are the three main challenges I feel like I've come across and during my product marketing career. Yep.
Nice. I love the breakdown there also. So we can discuss briefly in terms of what advice would you give PMM who are working in terms of how they can work cross-functionally with the SEO team and also digital marketing team and other resource mentality.
Oh, right. I think as a product marketing manager, you're often going to be faced with kind of like working with the SEO team, whether it's the digital team. These teams honestly tend to cast a wide net in their content strategies, if you're being honest, because they are constantly looking for new ways to tell their stories or explore different angles. So their content may not always kind of like tightly aligned with the product narrative, right? This can lead to attracting an audience that isn't necessarily well suited for the product. This essentially results in high churn rates or users that consume more resources than they contribute in value. So as a PMM, to avoid this, I think the goal essentially should be, it shouldn't always be about attracting the largest possible audience. It should be attracting the right audience. This requires providing the SEO and digital marketing team with very clear, strong messaging and positioning documents. You need to guide them when they are creating their content. What is the message about? What are we talking about? And how are we going to position ourselves? Which is something I believe that Fido does very, very well. We're working closely with the product team and the marketing team, constantly having meetings, aligning on the kind of communication that needs to go out to their customers, on how they can use the app better, how the app can better serve them, and also targeting them in different phases of the customer journey to assist them. If we identify that people are dropping off probably after completing their KYC, there are certain, communication that is being done to them or certain product marketing assets that are being sent their way to help push them further down the pipeline. And I feel like as a product marketing manager, it's very essential that you drive this communication across both the SEO team and the digital marketing team so that they are very well aligned on the messaging and then the positioning as well. So just as you also enable the sales team, you need to enable both these teams with the right information, which will effectively help them tell the right story. So by saying this, I think the advice I'll give is ensure that you give them clear messaging and positioning guidelines. That is kind of like a key responsibility as the PMM in that role. Develop, if you yourself have the time or the responsibility is placed on you, it's better to develop and share kind of like the core narrative of whatever it is that the product team, that the SEO team and digital marketing team are going to use in their efforts. This narrative should be tightly aligned with the value proposition of the products, the use cases, and then also the target audience that these content pieces are be created for. When you provide them with these clear messages and these tools, it ensures that the content attracts the right people and not just a broad, less relevant audience. Because in as much as you are creating all of these product assets, some of these product assets are being sent directly to people that are already on the platform. Some of them are also being shared on social media. So these assets are being shared on social media to possibly people that are not using your app. But then again, if they are the right target audience and they come in contact with this video, it should be able to, kind of like get them to take an action and download the app or subscribe to a service or whatever it is that you need to do. So I think helping them with clear messaging and positioning, and then enabling the SEO and digital marketing team constantly. Yeah. And then also, foster regular interactions with your product team as well, because it's very important to understand the product and to align with the product team on the vision and the goals for the product. Yeah.
Nice. I love that. So, and we can also discuss in terms of, please feel free to give an example from past products you've supported or worked at, or supported different teams building different products. So can you give us an example in terms of how using digital marketing can really help different teams when they're launching a product into a new market? Just take us through that process, and feel free to give us a nice example.
Okay, so I think one powerful way that digital marketing has helped me successfully launch a new product is by utilizing a full funnel approach, right? I believe in the past, marketing was more fragmented in terms of with limited visibility into the different stages of the customer journey. Because now a lot of things have advanced. There are a lot of SEO tools. There are lots of AI tools. There are lots of AI tools that are now in play. There are a lot of softwares like SEMrush and stuff like that that really helps you with your marketing and your strategizing and stuff like that. But if you look at digital marketing today, it allows you to craft a seamless experience at every stage of the funnel. Excuse me. For example, the product launch I did, we started at top of the funnel with kind of like a mix of strategies from paid ads to engaging landing page copy, like building a dedicated landing page with specific copies that are going to urge people to take an action. All these were designed to create awareness and generate excitement about the launch of the product. The main key that I looked at was not focusing on just the product features, but kind of like creating a compelling narrative that kind of like resonates with the target audience that we are looking forward to. We wanted to tell a story that made users feel like they were part of an ongoing journey, where at each chapter of this product, they are going to keep on coming back for more, because we are kind of like telling them, oh, hey, this is the product that we are rolling out. This is what you should expect in the near future. This is what you should expect later on in the journey. So we are kind of like, just similar to the way Apple has all of these products that kind of like keeps you in what they call like the Apple family, where you have an iPhone, you have a MacBook, you have an iPad, you have an Apple Watch, and you can kind of like join all of these things in one. And back in the day, I was working on another fintech product, where essentially we started off with savings, then investment, and then I was expanding to insurance and different farming to investing in bigger companies in Europe. So doing all of this, like I mentioned before, it also comes back to you having discussions with your product team and understanding where your product is going to. Because without all of this knowledge, you're not going to be able to craft this story or craft this message to your customers or your potential customers that this is where this product is heading to. Someone might download your product or download your software based off the future value that you're going to be offering them and not what you currently have now. So it's essential that you understand how this is going to resonate with your audience. So like I was saying, we wanted to tell a story that made them feel like they were part of the ongoing journey. And any user that moved along the funnel, we adapted our messaging across different channels, which was based on the stage in the customer journey. So for users that are further along, we use content that focus more on retention, more on activation, more on reactivation for those that are already changed. And then we kind of like tailor the story to highlight how the product can continue to provide them value and expand its role in their life or in their business. So in as much as it's an investment app or a savings app, we constantly kind of like push a value proposition of how we are going to be your financial partner for life, from an early investment stage to investing in long-term investment bonds and stuff like that, to creating a retirement package for you, to have an insurance package for you. So we are kind of like following the user from, let's say, college all the way to retirement. So we are telling a story of how we are your number one financial partner from start to end. And that's kind of like the narrative that I created to draw in customers from different segments that we created, from the young ones to the middle age to also the people that are also in the elderly phases of things. And it becomes difficult sometimes when dealing with older folks in terms of if they are not really tech savvy. So then again, you also need to find a way to communicate to them and kind of like convince them on how they can still hop onto your product without necessarily having to have difficulties in terms of technology and stuff like that. But I think ultimately, what digital marketing allows you to do is you're able to create a cohesive story across multiple touch points, and whether it's through ads, whether it's through email campaigns, SMS, social media, retargeting efforts, it's ensuring that the narrative remains consistent across board and is tailored to meet the user where they are in every point of the journey. I think this approach has really helped me, and it also helps a lot when you're creating awareness, but it also helps with retention and expansion even after your product launch. And I think this really helps to drive in long-term success for any individual when using digital marketing to launch your product into the market. Yeah.
Nice. I love the elaboration. Clearly, you're an expert in this. Yeah, and I was just taking notes because we are currently adding more services. And for those, I think 6 or so services, because I'm in a consulting, the company also does consulting. So in the digital transformation and innovation management. So the things it elaborated that made me sort of go back and think about, how I'll be engaging with different teams, going forward. So thank you very much for the breakdown. And I know it's going to help so many guys. So now I want us to move away now from PMM and to you, Ian. You can tell us more about like what exciting projects are you currently working on? Is it like your own personal project? Is it like a company project? So you can take us through that.
Okay. I think I'm currently working on a number of exciting things. I think spam personal with a couple of very close friends who I started my career with. Like the very first company I worked with, there were some guys in the tech team that I've formed a really strong friendship with. So we are working on something great, which I can't speak about. I really can't say, but I can't share right now. Also with Fido, we are also working on a lot of amazing stuff for our customers. Also, which I can't share right now, but I just want anyone that's going to be watching this to know that Fido is really doing great things. We are also looking to expand more, and promises to our customers, and be of the best help, because we are really doing amazing work in Ghana and Uganda as well. And I believe there's nothing more but the best coming from Fido, and they should expect great things. But some of the things I wish I could talk about, but I can't.
It's okay. I totally understand. I totally understand. And we can discuss some more when I'm in Ghana, because I'll be coming in April. I don't know if I told you, so I'm coming there for an event in April. So we should meet up.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely. I would love to host you. No problem at all. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So we've come to the end of the podcast, but before we close it, do you have any comments, suggestions in terms of PMMs who are new into the field, just coming into the field, they don't understand much? What advice can you give them before we end the call, just from your experience?
Advice. I think any advice I would give is that every PMM should have a learning culture. I usually have people talking about the fact that why do you have so many certificates on your LinkedIn profile? And it's just because about
I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right?
sometimes it's kind of like strange to people, like why so many courses, like but I think it's really helpful, especially when you find yourself in any space. When I moved into product marketing, it wasn't too difficult because I was already in the marketing space, but I kind of like noticed that things are being done differently. You are kind of like dealing with different teams all the time. That's how they are working closely with the product team, the tech team, and your customers. You really need to learn and understand how customer journeys works, how the funnel work and stuff like. Because if you don't truly understand how these things work, it's kind of like very difficult when you're kind of like trying to craft narratives or trying to communicate with your customers, and this is going to affect will essentially affect your work, because once you have a clear understanding of all of these things and have a clear understanding of your products, your works become very, very easy. I also really like to learn about the product and marketing, because when you learn about the product you're marketing, or just kind of like the skill I have in marketing, I can speak freely about marketing and SEO because I've studied it a lot, I've practiced it a lot. And the same applies to a product marketing manager. When you are in the field and you're learning a lot, understanding a lot of things, joining those groups like Product Marketing Alliance for once. There are so many product marketing people on there that you can learn from. There are many courses online that you can learn and practice. So I think at the end of the day, I think a learning culture is number one for me. Learn new things, because it's a space that's constantly evolving, and just learn and very close to your product team, and also phone colleague to ensure that you understand your customer, because you're working for the customer at the end of the day. So
At the end of the day,
that part.
I totally agree, and I feel like the Product Marketing Alliance has really helped a lot of PMMs in Africa. Because I'll give you an example. I have a background in PR and comms and corporate communication, and so I didn't know anything about product marketing. But then through the Product Marketing Alliance, we've been able. I was able to take some courses. I was able to get mentorship from different PMMs, global PMMs who are senior. So they really helped me through my journey. So when it comes to learning, I totally agree with you. So that would be the end from my side, unless you have any questions or comments. And then how do people reach you if they want to connect with you?
I think they can reach me on LinkedIn, Ian Hutchful, IANHUTCHFUO. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can, I think LinkedIn. So social media, I don't really know. Yeah, so
That thing.
so
That's
anytime
perfect.
Ian Hutchful, you can send me an email, Ian12Hutchful@gmail.com. You can also send me an email. If you have any questions, if you need any help with anything product marketing and marketing in general. And it was great coming on your podcast today. I really enjoyed the conversation that we had, and I feel like it's going to be helpful to a lot of people. And I'm looking forward to.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ian. Have I know you're starting the holiday. We've already started the holiday, so have an amazing holiday. Time with your family. Let's catch up next year. Okay, ciao.